and the heel will be like, "Oh gosh, do I hate local sports team? Boy, does city we're in smell funny." You know, like.
Press A to play.
So you're not hoping for Elden Ring 2?
I mean, there's gonna
This
be
time
Elden
it's
Ring
for
DLC. I'm not hoping for an Elden Ring 2.
Elden Ringer.
I am hoping for Elden Ring DLC. You know, I'm hoping for Elden Ring. As opposed to Elden Ring 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Elden Ring.
But
This time it's for real.
this time it's super for real. I mean, look, they haven't done anything in space yet. You know, which I think is really like their next
That's
set.
always episode 5.
Episode 5. Okay. So I mean, like, okay, let's think about this.
You have to exhaust everything before you go to space, because like then where are you gonna go?
So they did Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro. Yeah, so this would be 5, unless you count Demon Souls. But Demon Souls was, in my opinion, a section of Dark Souls, but like Dark Souls the precursor.
What
Souls-
was Demon Souls?
It was like what came right before Dark Souls, basically. It was their first attempt at that game.
They were like, nope, we're gonna do this again. They're not Demon Souls, they're Dark Souls. It's completely different.
Yeah, it was a totally different storyline, but like Demon Souls definitely started the mechanics. You know, it was their first attempt at that kind of game. And like, I mean, yeah, there were mechanics in it that aren't in Dark Souls. People liked it, all of that stuff. But in my opinion, Demon Souls is kind of like Dark Souls, the first attempt. And as a result, yeah, this would be episode 5. So I really hope it's in space.
Okay.
Space and Ring. Although actually, you could argue that Elden Ring was the space one.
Oh.
Because it has to do with the stars and the moon. And at one point, you like start a space journey. So yeah, I mean, technically Elden Ring may be the episode in space. There's a fresh take for you.
That is fresh. The entire time we were in space. Y'all just didn't know.
We are all on Spaceship Earth. Thank you, Carl Sagan.
Love that, man.
Where the hell am I going? Oh, this is just the way to return here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm totally paying attention to everything, guys. I'm a pro gamer.
Yeah. As you can see, we're immersed.
360 no axe.
Immersed, some might say.
1000% immersed.
Uh-huh.
You know, smoking a fat Greek Norse blunt. 360 no axe. Maybe Atreus can 360 no scope some shit, you know? Make himself useful.
He does have a
Usually
bow
not.
and arrow.
He does. What the hell?
So
do
I
do
guess
with that?
technically every one of his hits is a no-scope. Oh, yeah, when they paint stuff, it means you can interact with
Right,
it.
okay. I just realized that, and I was like, aha, right, okay.
That dude caught an axe to the back.
Yep. I kind of wish I had another weapon, so I could just...
That
let
dude
the
caught an axe to the face.
Oh, there you go. I can do this. There you go.
I'm pretty sure you messed his day up.
Certainly seems that way. Oof.
Uh-huh. You have glory kills.
Jeez.
Which
What?
they did not do an FF7 remake, and I have to say, it's a fantastic mechanic here.
It is a really good mechanic here. I think it's just like, it's about the energy that you want to exude during gameplay. You know, because like Doom and like I guess God of War will use glory kills because like it keeps the action moving at a fast pace and rewards you for
yeah.
moving faster.
Doom did that so well. I was so happy with it.
Do I have to just chuck this? Is that gotta do?
He's resistant to the Leviathan axe.
I see. So what I really gotta do then is maybe chuck the axe and attack him with my fists. Go over there for
If you press
go over there for a
square,
bit.
Atreus. I love the pseudo-Greek names.
Yep.
I tried to watch Marvel's Eternals, and I think...
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I tried...
Did you hate yourself that day?
A little? A little?
Did you feel like you hadn't suffered enough yet?
I felt like I needed just a bit more, you know? Like, my PhD work just wasn't enough. I needed to go that, like, extra distance to get to genuine level 3 self-loathing.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
You know, or perhaps was it a self-imposed experiment on the psychological effects of bad television?
Oh, it may have been. Inadvertently, however, because I didn't hypothesize ahead of time. I hypothesized that if I could just get into it, it's got to be good, right? It's got all these stars and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, okay, there's a lot of things that I did not like about it. The, like, pseudo-Greek mythology stuff. It's not Athena, it's Thena.
Athena? Why?
There was
We're edgy. We cut out the first letter of her name. It sounds like you're making a tech company. She sounds like a tech startup. Hey,
Thena.
we're Thena. We are the rivals of Temis.
Yeah, okay. Well, it landed as flat as that. They had a character who I guess was Hephaestus, but they gave him a slightly different name as well. Like after a while, it was Festus, something like this.
I mean, it's better than heifer, but like,
Well, yeah, they did choose the right half of the name. I will give them that. If you're gonna cut it in half, that was the right half. But yeah, I don't know, and so much just did not work for me, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Some super awkward green screening that just looked like green screening, and
I'm telling you, man, like I'm only about projects that have some genuine passion behind them now, right? And I feel like The Sandman had genuine passion. American Gods, even though it's not coming back, so it's over.
is it really?
It unfortunately got canceled.
You're just gonna leave it there?
No fourth season. It got canceled.
That is some bullshit.
You want to know what happens? You have to read the book. It's not a long book.
I don't want to read books.
But yeah, like the thing is, as much as I hate that it got canceled, it remains quite possibly my favorite TV series. Because there was so
great.
much passion behind it. It was clever. It was creative. The people who worked on it clearly loved what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes such a massive difference. It's kind of like how I feel about Outlander now, right? Where like the people behind it just have a passion for what it is that they're doing, and that makes the series better. You can feel that there is a passion and an intentionality behind it, and it's not a matter of just collecting a paycheck, and that makes a massive difference. Umbrella Academy as well. Like there's a lot of series that I feel are really good, but I genuinely find myself going down to or going back to series that are shorter seasons, 8 to 12 episodes, preferably 8 per season, but like genuinely high effort, high budget, high quality, I guess. That's where I'm at.
And some forethought.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
a good amount of intentionality, some genuine passion, and yeah, a plan. The fact that like there's a strategy for how to move forward. Like Umbrella Academy, 3 seasons, I'm still right there. I think it was brilliant. I loved it. I loved where they went with the story, and I feel like the next story is going to be great. But at the same time, you can also tell every single season is its own arc and its own story. They take that seriously. They do it right, and the people working on it really love it.
Yeah, I was talking to Frank the other night about Breaking Bad. So I got to the end. I had some complaints, but overall, I thought it was brilliantly done.
As a series, like as a whole full arc story, like it was just good. Just a good show.
Yeah. And all the elements of it. So I was talking to Frank about how I thought they had put a lot of thought into, I guess, the psychological complications of the characters. So Walt being this grandiose, benevolent narcissist type.
Yeah.
The trauma that starts to show on Jesse after a while, and like just the degree to which it gets more and more exaggerated.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, I can even remember like some of my favorite moments from the series, even though I watched it a long time ago, and that's how I know that it was good. It left a freaking impact and a half,
So crazy cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I think I actually might keep going. Like I might watch Better Call Saul.
Let me know how that is. I never
afterwards.
watched that, but I mean, if it's good, I'll watch it. I'm all about those like relatively short, high quality, low episode passion projects nowadays. Arcane is another one, 9 episodes, effing brilliant. I recommend Arcane to literally everybody.
The last show I saw that got to me like Breaking Bad was The Wire.
I never watched The Wire. I am planning
man.
on it. But yeah, you know what it is though? Like I'm realizing that I'm starting to get frustrated with the way shows are classified. And what I mean by that is that I feel like a show's emotional content and narrative structure are way more important than the setting and the time period and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the way they're organized. When you try to look for shows to watch, recommendations, shows like this, whatever, you get recommended things based on setting. So, they'll be like, oh, you liked, this superhero show, Umbrella Academy technically has superheroes in it.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you check out these other superhero shows? Except The Flash and Green Arrow are not Umbrella Academy. They're completely different. They're not even
Yeah.
the same thing a little bit. They just happen to share the fact that they're technically about superheroes, which isn't really anything to do with what the story really is, right? The emotional content and narrative structure is what makes Umbrella Academy what it is. So you'll have a much better time finding other shows like it if you look outside of superhero shows.
Yeah.
This is where I think we need to go with regard to meta tagging shows and finding stuff that we really like. Right? This is what needs to be the next step, I feel.
But you gotta figure out how to classify that thing and then how to get measures on it.
Yeah,
And that's really non-trivial.
I suppose it's true, but I feel like it's got to be no harder than classifying the real genre of anything, right? I mean, what is a romance or sci-fi or fantasy novel? There's always going to be outliers that don't quite fit. Different ones are going to have different structures or different ideas or whatever. But we still find ways to, in a general sense, classify them. And I feel like this is what we have to do, but from an emotional perspective, right? This show's focus is on character development. This show's focus is on elaborate settings. This show's focus is on this form of character exploration. This show's focus is on dark relationships. This one on lighthearted romantic relationships. You know, like this one is an ensemble sitcom, right? These are the things that we really need to focus on.
I think they are actively working on that probably quite a bit. It's just genre is like one of the hardest aspects of all media science.
Fair enough. I mean, I feel like we're heading that way, whether or not we intend to. Yeah, good lord, right?
These moves, man.
Yeah, it's like pro wrestling, you know. Like, you know, it can't be real, and yet it's really satisfying, you know. Yeah, like that's. I feel like we're moving in that direction, whether or not we even intended to, just because like that's what the statistics will eventually show, right? So like something like Netflix that has access to a large amount of data about what it is people are watching, inevitably sees that somebody who really liked this show also really liked this show, even though it wasn't in the same genre. So these two are related, we just don't know what to call it. So then they'll find a name for that kind of relationship. Right? And like they're doing this actively, which is why I think this is where we're headed no matter what. Screw you.
With a tree.
Sure. See, now you can lift the tree. Now you can lift a fridge. What happened when you were fighting the troll? You couldn't catch his fridge?
Oh man. See, you pushed him through a house.
Yeah. This dude took flying through two solid like log cabin walls like nothing.
Oh my god, his health is full.
Yep. See, what is he, Balder? Like.
Yeah, actually.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense then. You can only be killed by specific things. Yeah, just you wait till I.
But one of those things is Kratos.
Yeah, mistletoe splinter, and then you'll feel like shit.
Oh, you have the Spartan rages.
Like
the color red.
Punch.
Red is the best color. Red. Oh, here comes the tree again.
They really they deforest a lot of the world in these fights, don't they?
You pushed him through a mountain with a tree.
And it wasn't enough.
No.
In fact, apparently it didn't even hurt him.
But it's okay, because your punches have fire, and that's just satisfying to watch.
Yep, apparently. It's just pro wrestling now. This is the part where I like get my turn.
Yeah.
You know, like the heel lost for a bit. Now I get to go for a bit. You know,
where does that expression come from? The heel.
I think it just like it's a very old school thing. You know, somebody's a real heel. But in pro wrestling, it's just the way to refer to wrestlers that are meant to be hated. So in pro wrestling, it's heels and baby faces.
Ah.
So a baby face is somebody who's meant to be liked by the crowd, and a heel is someone who isn't. And they are ludicrously obvious about it, but that's also part of the crowd's fun. You know, like they know who they're supposed to boo at. And so, like, you know, they'll show up to a particular place, and the heel will be like, "Oh gosh, do I hate local sports team." Boy, does city we're in smell funny, you know, like, and the crowd knows who they're supposed to boo at, you know, like that's the way to build heat, that's the way to build hate. And then the babyface will come in and be like, "How dare you, local sports team is phenomenal. And also, you stole my girlfriend." You know, and then like they'll get into a fight. Which is really funny then when things go against the grain and there's someone who's supposed to be like a face, but the crowd hates them. So they'll come on, and this is a moment when you're clearly supposed to cheer, but the crowd will start chanting boo or fuck you sometimes, or like
Wow.
just things they're not supposed to put on TV, you know? Just because like they really hate somebody. It's a lot of fun. And then like sometimes the crowd will catch them screwing up a move, and like will point it out with a chant, which is really funny because then the crowd knows when somebody like actually ended up in physical danger for a second.
Oh wow.
You hear like ooh from the crowd sometimes, and you know somebody almost broke their neck, you know? Which would have been really useful then if they could heal like this guy, right? Because
Yeah.
then like there'd be no problems.
That's what we need. Is we need Wolverine to become a professional wrestler.
That's exact. I mean, imagine the fame and fortune.
Yeah, they could just break his back over and over again.
Right, and he would never like have to retire. He wouldn't have the health problems. It'd be fantastic.
Except when he loses his temper and then basically goes berserk and kills.
McMahon treats the wrestlers like they're disposable anyway. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah. Right.
Oof.
Just knock out a chunk of a mountain. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure that won't affect the local geology at all. It's fine. I wonder if like the locals really hate it when gods fight.
They've
Like, can you
got to,
imagine, like,
right?
Right, like they're like, oh my god, it's loud as hell. My house is just won't stop shaking. Now tomorrow there won't be a forest for me to work in.
Maybe that's why he's living by himself in the middle of a mountain, though. You know, like everybody was just like, listen, Kratos, buddy.
Pal, friendo.
Every
Better
time
everybody
you
just-
get upset, we lose a chunk of a mountain. 50 or 60 people.
That maybe everybody just moved away. They were like, God, I'm tired of rebuilding my house. It takes like 5 years here because they're all log cabins. Like, could you not?
You keep trying.
Who the hell is your brother? Why do I care?
I don't know if it's clear why you care yet.
Fair enough.
This person just really wants you to. This is the fourth phase of this or something.
Yeah, like he just does not want to give up. He just wants you to suffer. Oof. Even blocking, he knocked me outside.
Yeah, it's funny because he's so much skinnier than you.
Yep, but he's just as strong. Because video game logic.
It makes so much sense. Oh yeah, I think that's what you gotta do. You gotta counter
Yeah.
his garbage.
I think that's the best way to do it, yeah. Never much good at countering. I know that's like shameful thing to say as someone who plays like Monster Hunter, Dark Souls, whatever. Like that's
Yeah.
something you just gotta get good at, but like never
It's
been
one of the
awfully good at
fundamental
it.
controls, no?
In like every game, which is why I have issues sometimes.
I get nervous.
Yeah?
I can do it when I'm chill, but when I'm trying to, it just doesn't happen.
For me, it's a matter of focus. Oof. Like sometimes when I get like really in the zone, I can do it.
Oh, you fell like into the snow.
Yeah, like that snow was deep apparently.
Uh huh.
Like that or Kratos just like real like he even falls hard. He's so strong. He's just dense. He's just like he's just dark matter. He's just very very dense.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you jerk. That's right. I have a giant shield from Fina. Pretty soon it'll just be Nah.
God,
And who are you, Dur?
it was so bad. It was so unwatchable.
I haven't even tried to watch it. I mean, like, I don't know why you would. I've heard nothing good. Then again, though, I guess, like, I'm also getting a little marveled out, personally. So, like, some things I'd be interested in seeing, but, like, I'm not, like, chasing every Marvel show anymore because I am just a bit marveled out at this point.
Yeah, I watched them all the way through again to Endgame, which, you know, still really good. I thought,
Yeah, I guess the
considering what
journey
it
is
is,
good,
is
yeah.
a whole series of movies. You know.
No, they did a fantastic job. You know, especially considering that nobody else had been able to do it yet at the time except, like, Universal or something. And that was ages ago, like.
Yeah. And then I'm looking at Eternals and like a couple of the actors from Game of Thrones are in there, and I like them both tremendously in Game of Thrones. And you know, like Salma Hayek is there, I think, and Angelina Jolie is in there, and I'm thinking, yeah, how could it be bad? But I tried to watch it like 3 times, just could not get into it.
Yeah, fair. Neither could I. I don't know.
You know, and I thought Kit Harington was doing a great job acting, and there was a lot of like really interesting costume design and stuff like that. But the fake Greek mythology stuff, and then I don't know, there was something about it. I just there you go, Kratos.
There we go. Yeah, now
This is the Kratos we know and love.
Yeah, you know what bothers me? Like, mythology is interesting enough on its own, guys. Just do the mythology. Do you know how much interesting mythology there is that we just never talk about? Like, just tell those stories. They're so good. And they're vague enough that you can, like, tell them in your own way and no one can really say you're wrong.
You gotta do the thing.
Right. Sorry, I gotta hit the neck snap button real quick. The neck snap prompt. Pro tier gameplay. Kratos really needs to do his vacuum poses. Like he has poor transverse abdominal strength.
I don't think he needs it.
Like he's so barrel torsoed that I'm like, can you please do your exercises so you don't turn into a barrel?
He's he can lift trees.
I guess it's true. What would he even exercise with? He's like, I'm just gonna power lift this mountain today.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you bench pressing?
Just gonna rep this giant real quick.
Gonna rep this elk. I'm gonna do some bicep curls with this moose. Yeah, I don't know where Marvel's gonna go. And again, I was so hyped again. Like after watching Endgame, I was like, oh man, yeah, you know.
Like I think there just needs to be more intentionality. Like stop trying to get views quarter over quarter and focus on making good content instead of continuously keeping your audience's attention literally all the time. And that's what bugs me, is that I could be wrong of course, but I believe that part of the problem is the competitive nature of shows where the way they think about it a lot of the time is that you have a limited amount of time. So if anyone else is getting your time, they're not getting your time. And if they don't get your time, they don't get your money.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to somehow monopolize your time. And
Right.
this is what bugs me, is that that's where things fall down. If your streaming service was cheaper and didn't try to monopolize my time, then I would just have it and not think about it. Right?
Yeah.
But I
okay.
can't because I need to like commit to monopolizing. Like it's really annoying.
But both of them are like, all of them are losing subscribers, aren't they?
1000%, but that's the cycle of streaming services where we've seen this a billion times and yet for some reason they never learn. What happens is everybody splinters off into different streaming services, which limits what each streaming service has. So to get the full catalog, you suddenly have to pay for like 15 streaming services. Nobody
Yeah.
actually wants to do that. And so at the point where it becomes a big enough pain in the ass, people stop paying for it and start torrenting. At which point, if you're already torrenting, you may as well torrent more and not have any streaming services. At which point, streaming services die off and become consolidated again because now there's only really one, so you may as well sell them your licensing rights so you get some money out of it. But then, like, streaming gets big enough, so why don't we make our own and take our licensing back? We've seen this cycle so many times over and over again, and nobody seems to learn.
I was so irritated because like I wanted to keep watching Marvel movies, and I thought the Spider-Man movies were pretty good. I still haven't seen like the third one. But like, you know, I thought the continuation of the MCU Spider-Man movies were pretty good. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll watch these again. And they weren't on Disney Plus, they were on Netflix. And I'm like, bloody hell.
Exactly.
Why are they
yeah.
over here?
Right, and now you have shows where like 5 seasons are on Netflix, but the last season is on a different service. You have to pay for it.
Really?
Oh yeah, Outlander was exactly that way. You want the 6th season? Pay for Stars.
That's irritating.
Everything else Netflix. Like why?
I got this urge to watch the original Dragon Ball. So not Dragon Ball
Oh,
Z,
the old one,
but
the
Dragon Ball.
the proper like the one where he was just trying to tell Journey to the West, like the old Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I couldn't figure out where to go to find it.
Neither can I, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm like, this is exactly why people end up torrenting. You know, they're just like, this is irritating.
Absolutely, absolutely. See, the Japanese government had the right idea. They got tired of people torrenting, so they made a service called Daisuki.net, and they tried to like get everybody on the same service so that people would finally find it convenient enough to stop torrenting.
Okay.
I think it made a significant impact, but that was largely because it was a concerted effort to get everybody on the same platform so that users would pay for one service.
Okay.
Which is what really matters, I think. That's how things should be. You know, if you've got to pay too much, you're just not going to do it. So like, you know, when it's like, okay, I got to pay for Netflix, then all right, it's Netflix. It's not that bad. When it's Netflix and Disney Plus and HBO Max and Stars and Hulu and also this other thing, like you kind of give up. Why?
Yeah.
You know, and like now you can't even get like half the content you want from a particular channel. So why would you pay for it? Like if I want documentaries, for instance, I have to pay for a different service now because Discovery and History no longer do them. Why?
Wow.
You know, like at a certain point, it just gets really annoying.
Netflix has a couple that I thought were interesting. There was one that was sort of discussing like the potential therapeutic uses of certain psychedelic substances and like their history being discovered and stuff like that. It was I forget, it was on Netflix. I forget what it was called. I think it was called like How to Change Your Mind or something. And that was pretty good.
Fair enough.
And yeah, the interesting thing to me about it was like, I guess all the history, you know, like these things were sort of floating around. They were sort of known, and then they were synthesized in labs, and they weren't illegal at the beginning. And so there's all these sort of hilarious anecdotes of people trying to figure out what one does with them, you know, and then they accidentally take some and basically trip. They're just like, whoa, okay, it's like this, huh?
Fair enough.
And what's also cool is they don't just tell the history of it, but kind of like what's going on now, and you know how they're being introduced in randomized controlled trials to see if you know they could be used for different therapeutic uses and stuff like that. Finally, so it's pretty good.
Fair enough. Yeah, see, I mostly would just watch like history and mythology and documentaries like that, but I can't get that anymore. It's really frustrating because that was like the one thing I used to watch on the History Channel. Now it's all Pawn Stars and crap.
Oh my god, I just cannot watch those shows.
I can't watch reality anymore. I really can't. I got there was a moment when I got into Below Deck with Connor for a bit, and that was kind of fun because like that show gets messy.
What is Below Deck?
It's a show about yachting. If you really want to like hate the world, it's basically rich people rent yachts, and like that's the basic idea is that like rich people can pay a lot of money to rent a yacht and go on yachting adventures, and it's about the crew and the ship itself and like the wild wacky hijinks they get up to because rich people are crazy. And I kind of like that you have to look around for the next ledge. It's like simulating the whole. It gets you more immersed. Anyway, yeah, so like that show got messy because like there was drama on board, and also like rich people are just wacky sometimes. It's like that was just funny to watch, you know, for like entirely unreal. Can I not drop this chain?
You should be able to.
To just yell at Treyas to do it? Like what do I?
Maybe.
There
There it is.
Was the wrong part. No, don't go down. Just there you go. Or do I need to go? No, I don't need to go down there. I need to go up here. Yeah, so like I got into that for a little bit, but to be honest, it was just because like we didn't have the brain space for anything else, and it was something we could share. But I don't really get into reality TV. I don't see the appeal, especially when it's so clearly scripted. That like you can see where things are going because it's so very clearly scripted. That like what do you do? Or like what's the point in watching it?
Yeah.
It's just silly. Yeah, I just can't get into that. I need shows with either narrative or I guess historical substance.
They gotta have something to them worth thinking about.
Exactly. I gotta walk away feeling that was a worthwhile experience that I might want to share, as opposed to feeling like that was kind of shameful and I might not want to talk about it.
I think for me the characters have to be believable, and I think in order to really make them believable, they really have to be quite a few shades of gray. You know, like one of the things that I liked about The Wire is that every character was a bunch of shades of gray. There wasn't really anybody that was purely good or purely bad, you know?
Yeah, I got that.
And they made like this really good effort to show the world from all these different perspectives, which I thought was really brilliant. It's also what I liked about Breaking Bad. There's all these shades of gray, and in a lot of it, like they really thought about psychological issues and stuff like that. You know, like one of the other things that I continuously think about when I think about that series is that they made somebody dying kind of a big deal, you know? like it might actually be in real life. It's not the main character just randomly, indiscriminately killing people, and for some reason there's no repercussion. You know.